Welcome back to the 2012 PokerStars Caribbean Adventure, coming to you live from the Atlantis Resort and Casino on Paradise Island in the Bahamas. It's the final table of the 25K high roller. We have 5 players left, and they'll be playing down to a winner. You'll get to see every single hand live with hole card information. Now, those big blinds aren't relevant because the blinds will be up on the next hand to 20,000, 40,000 with a 5K ante. You can see, though, it is the Ukrainian. Alex Biliko has the chip lead right now. And it's Nico Fierro from Chile who's the short stack.
I hope they change the graphics soon because that's way too much math to do right after dinner. All my energy is going toward digestion.
Next player out, $217,000. The winner, $1.134 million. Calling the action, the American voice is Joe Stapleton. I'm James Hartigan. We are rejoined by Barry Greenstein from Team PokerStars Pro.
The Chicago voice is Barry Greenstein. Here at EPT Baden. That was my favorite blog you ever did. EPT Baden.
So what'd you do over the break?
Oh, well, you know, the security here is very tight, James, as you know, because we have access to hole cards. And we all kind of have a laugh at how tight it is. But I will say that on the break, I was approached by Mr. Slugworth, who told me that if I gave him the recipe to the Everlasting Gobstoppers, he would really make it worth my while. And I have to say, I told him no, straight out. I said, no, Slugworth, you get out of here. I'm going to go drink some soda that's going to make me fly around the room.
I just went and took a shower because anytime I do a broadcast with you, you make me feel dirty.
Oh, Barry.
So action back underway with the blinds at 20-40.
That was quick. We saw the getting mic'd up and boom, back to the, I guess that was delayed too.
We move fast.
Okay.
Isaac Haxton playing a stack of 785,000.
I saw
Isaac
on the break, and I was afraid to say anything. It's like they make you feel like, don't talk, don't say anything. Not that there's anything I could have said that he wouldn't find out.
Right, exactly. The dinner break is fine.
But you know, I didn't. You know, just don't want to be inappropriate.
Fierro moves all in with deuces. Isaac Haxton calls him, and Fierro is at risk.
Sick cooler.
He started the hand with about 17 big blinds. He reshoved with the deuces.
Well, you know, the problem, I guess a lot of people would reshove with deuces, and I don't even know, you know, it's probably situational whether I would too. But with 17 big blinds there, he's getting called a lot of the times, and he's always racing or in real bad shape. So,
straight flush once again.
you know, but pairs are pretty scarce, you know, and you get 5 hands and you feel you get a pair, you got to play it.
I feel like deuces don't even count as a pair.
Well, they count more now, though, with this flop. Although, actually, it still says, well, they updated 20. They went up from 17% to 22% with that straight. So it's not a great amount, still, obviously, almost a 4-to-1 dog.
He can still be counterfeit.
Counterfeited? Well, you know. No, yeah, now he's saying, why didn't I have the deuce of spades?
Only a 3 will save Nico Fierro.
What's wrong with? Oh, he hit a 10. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, then he's going to be stuck going over that girlfriend.
We lose the man from Chile. He will go over to his girlfriend and to his friend Bolivar Palacios as he exits from the tournament in 5th place. His chips go across to Isaac Haxton, who's now up to nearly $1.5 million in chips. $217,560, a nice even amount that he receives there.
Now I know why Ike folded that ace-queen before the break.
Get your ID, man.
ICM.
You're so technical, Joe.
Barry, do we know what that means yet, by the way, ICM?
Independent chip modeling.
Okay, all right. What kind of models? Like Gale type of
Well,
model?
I think the idea is you just take one chip at a time or one unit at a time of what would happen like in a random walk and see what the results would be, where, you know, everyone's an equal player and it's just running it out randomly.
Had some emails during the break to nuts@pokerstars.tv, including a few suggestions about lines you could use when you eliminate a player. Maybe a line that Isaac Haxton could have delivered there to Nico. This one comes to us from Romania, from Shiril. Here's a couple of suggestions. I found Nemo.
I found Nemo. That's so bad I like it.
Only Chuck Norris can beat me.
I'm going to say no on that one.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next one then. This is an email from Belgium.
Do your own Chuck Norris joke if you're going to do it, but don't just say Chuck Norris's name. Come on.
We'll get to the email from Belgium after this hand. A raise from chip leader Alex Billiker into Duhamel with jacks.
Joe would fold jacks at this point. I've played with Joe. Joe's strategy would be, how do I fold to the next place? That's all he'd be thinking.
If I could fold my way to first, I would.
Yeah.
So there's the 3-bet from Duhamel.
I thought, oh, he did 3-bet, okay. Yeah, I keep reading these graphics where it says something to call, and I'm saying, boy, I'm surprised he only called 4
Sometimes they take just a little bit of time to update.
Yeah. Well, no, I think I just misunderstood the
Barry
graphic.
wants it now.
Yeah. So again, now how many? Duhamel started still with over 40 big blinds.
Billiker called that 3-bet out of position. He checks to Duhamel.
Seems fairly obvious.
I thought he checked. Indeed, it goes check, check. 7 of clubs on the turn.
Doesn't Duhamel seem a lot more passive than he was a couple of years ago at the World Series?
Yes.
Maybe he's got a taste of running not as good as he did then, and he's a little more afraid of things that he sees.
Well, the PCA is no indication.
Although also maybe he's playing a little bit of cat and mouse, trying to get his opponents to bluff at him.
Makes a delayed C-bet on the turn, 125,000.
Boy, that's a pretty loose call.
Well, you know, from Billiker's point of view, he's saying he checked on the flop for 1 of 2 reasons. He had nothing, or he had kings full. And I'm hoping he didn't have kings full, and my ace high, you know, Billiker just called for value at the ace high. And Johnson's probably just going to show it, figuring, you know, he can't get any more value. You know, that, you know, there's still a chance Billiker had a king.
Well, that pot puts Duhamel above the 2 million chip mark. Second overall on 2.2 million. Billiker still with a chip lead with a stack of 3 million. It's Jason Kuhn who's the short stack with a 16 big blinds.
We haven't heard much from him since then, or did he even come back?
But we're going to hear something, because from Jason Kuhn's point of view right now, he's the short stack. He's supposed to go out fourth. There's really nothing to do. Jason's not going to just be sitting back handing his chips off. He's going to take a shot at one of these guys, because in some sense the tables are now turned that he's the only short stack. They're now jockeying not to go out before he does, so
it's going to be tough for him to find a challenger.
Yeah, they're going to be thinking, hey, let this guy go out, let one of the other stacks take him out, and then I'll play. Duhamel, in some sense, is the guy who, you know, rates to play the most passively, you know, because he's in 3rd position here, waiting for Kuhn to go out.
Another early position raise from Billiker. Once again with ace-7.
Well, there's no more earlier position when we're 4-handed.
Good point. Let me get to that email from Belgium. It comes in from Maron. And remember, obviously, we were having some fun at the expense of Belgians earlier on. He says, us Belgians are awesome. We invented French fries, not the French. He says, it feels kind of weird sending this time-travel-ish email. Question about the extremely top-heavy payouts. Why aren't players making deals earlier, like 5, 6, or 7-handed? I get it that pros at the high roll are okay with the variance, but in the main event, where we see amateurs flipping for hundreds of thousands of dollars, just seems silly.
Who says they're not?
Well, the reason is they weren't all amateurs. There was maybe one amateur there who won it. The others were pros, and so they certainly weren't going to make a deal with the amateur. Actually, a deal got made because the amateur gave the pro the best of it. You know, he was ahead in the chips, and they made some sort of even deal, was my understanding. But that's the reason. If they were all pros, you might have seen a deal made earlier than it was. Not me, of course. Haven't been there to make a deal for a while, but I wouldn't do it anyway.
You're still no deals?
No deals. No deals, Joe.
No deals, run at once?
Not even with you. When you and I get heads up in some big event.
I won't even ask, Barry. I won't even make you say no to me.
Axton called from the small blind. Billiker checked his option.
And then I'll read your Oreo cookie tell.
Right. Very, very ugly and surprising. You know, ugly for you have an ace-queen, you don't want to see a king come up. And now Haxton's feeling kind of sick that he got called. And now he thinks, okay, great, now I've outdrawn him. When the truth was, it was a great card because he had the best, but now he can get value.
And the great thing
Real
is
value.
that Billiker's never going to put Haxton on an ace because he limped pre-flop. So he's going to get in trouble here with his ace-6.
Yeah, it's just a question, you know, you know, what he's going to get paid off for. 260 in the pot. Isaac's going to bet 100,000 or so here.
You guys are forgetting one thing. The 6 that's going to hit the river.
He bet more than I expected. But he's still, the nice thing is, you know, it's a tough spot for Villacor. That bet was a little heavier than he anticipated, but the way the play went, it's still hard for him to fold.
So he does make the call.
And, you know, he's even thinking to himself, pair of the board, but not that pair, because that pair lets the kickers play.
So in a sense, that being a bad card for Villacor makes it a bad card for Ike.
No, Ike's got a decent kicker. If Villacor's got an ace,
I just mean, but Ike can't maybe get paid as much.
Well, no, the problem is Ike was afraid that Villacor had a king because he called him on the flop. So it kind of reversed.
I see.
Ike didn't want to get raised if he bet. Ike's going to pay this off because he's just got, you know, too good a hand. But he's, you know, I mean, 155, there's just no chance. All I can imagine Ike's even thinking now is that bet was so small relative to the pot that maybe, you know, he can get more from value. I think Ike's thinking of raising, not folding, because that bet didn't indicate a king. But, you know, I'm sure the reason he called, there are a number of reasons he called, is like the extra he might have gained wasn't worth what he could have lost. If he was wrong there, it was one of those things where a raise might only get called by hands that beat you, by kings.
Bad reverse implied odds.
So, you know, he figured, you know, he can't fold, just take, if he has the best hand, take it there. You know, he might raise there and fold out hands that he beats and get called by hands that beat him.
Isaac Haxton 14-6 on the day, 10-3 pre-flop, 4-3 post-flop, up to nearly 2 million in chips. Not much now between Villacor and Duhamel, by the way. 2.6 close to 2.2.
It's not you I want, it's your stack.
Well, you know, Isaac's just right behind him.
That's very true.
Yeah, I mean, really now it's 3 people that are close and a short stack.
I think we all want to win. Oh, yeah.
Got an email to nuts@pokerstars.tv from Ferhat in Hong Kong. He says, okay, everybody says how good a player they are, right? Well, I'm going to be honest. I play so bad. I've been trying to learn the last 6 years. What does Barry suggest I do in terms of improving my game? I'm never going to quit because I play an amount of money which I don't mind to lose.
Well, Ferhat, from what I've heard from your friends, you're a hopeless case. No. You know, bad is an absolute term. I actually don't think I play good or other people play bad. It's all relative. If you play bad, just find some people who play worse. I know that sounds like a joke, but it's actually true. You know, that's how you make money at poker, by being better than your opponents.
From
that's
playing for 6 years, he has to be better than someone.
Yeah, right. You're going to be better than someone. You might have to move down. You might have to play with some, I don't mean to be sexist, but like some 13-year-old girls. You know, there are people who play worse than you do, especially if you try. You know, everyone can get to some level of poker. Even Joe Stapleton, he's got a level. I mean, I think if you put him in a maze with some lab rats, Joe would have an edge.
Especially if they get penalized for not being in
Although I don't know how, because when I played with you, it was like all you did was fold. Except that one day we played and you were drinking.
I have to. I in general have to have 1 or 2 cocktails because it loosens me up just enough. Because I am scared. I'm scared money at the table. So
we were playing like it was like that charity invitational thing. You didn't have to pay anything. You got put in for I don't know what it was, like a poker road deal or something.
Oh, when we played on the same team when we were in the. I wasn't on your team.
Yeah, exactly that thing. And
the tag team poker.
We were playing for like almost nothing, I think. Oh, that's
my
right.
Game
It
is
was
so,
that tag team.
That was like 4
right.
years ago, to be fair, Barry, and my game has changed quite a bit since then.
Okay, for the good or for the worse?
For the better, I mean. Jonathan, raise and take it here. Actually, I've been playing a lot of 50-cent $1 in a private game in LA, and I haven't lost in about 5 months.
I thought you were going to say 50-cent $1 sit and go.
Well, we lost our 5th place finisher a short while ago. Let's hear from him, the Chilean player Nico Ferrero.
Fine. I guess I'm a bit disappointed because when I play, I always try to play to win. But I was expecting at least get top 3 or something. But I guess I'm happy still like how the tournament overall went. And it's anyway, it's like a dream to be in the final table of such a tough tournament. It's probably one of the toughest tournaments of the year. So with most of the best players in the world. So yeah, I had to be happy for what I accomplished, and I think I played well. I don't regret much with how I play. I don't know how with the cards I got, how much could I have taken it. So I guess I'm cool with it. I just, of course I want to win, but it's fine. No big deal.
What a gracious exit interview.
Well, the hand we just missed, by the way, saw Billiker open for 80,000. Kuhn came over the top with Queen 10 of diamonds for his last 575,000, and he got a fold from Billiker.
Yeah, which, like I said, we're trying to anticipate. Unless, nobody wants to take that $700,000 dent of the three guys that are up there, and now be at a disadvantage when it gets to three-handed. It's nice to hear from someone from Chile who wasn't trapped in a mine.
Oh, wow, Barry. Good thing those guys got out alive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they were playing poker the whole time.
Too soon.
Actions on Duhamel. 5-3 of clubs. He's raising.
I wouldn't, at this point.
You're not goofing around, Barry.
Yeah, it's just, it gets more to me playing what my limit values are. And, he's got a guy like Isaac who, even if you're playing against people who are giving up a lot, but I think Isaac's more likely to 3-bet him than fold. Wrong again.
Well, you could have been right.
Sitting yesterday? Isn't this like the same spot?
Nice little steal.
Okay, well, it worked.
It's nice to see Jonathan Duhamel doing the stealing for a change.
Too soon?
He had a good sense of humor about it. I made a couple of jokes in the broadcast. He was laughing about it.
He's a good guy. I really like him. I think we've been pretty fortunate in poker that
oh yeah,
most of the people who've won the main event have actually been pretty good guys.
I was talking to James about this. I expect anyone who's good at poker to be an a-hole. Just automatically expect them to be cocky a-hole.
Well, that's one of those contrapositive things. You're not good at poker, so you want to think you're,
okay.
You're a nice guy
that could
or
be
something.
True. That could be true. But the last, bunch of main event winners are such absolute sweeties. Joe Cata is a sweetie. Jonathan is a sweetie. Pius turns out.
Nice kid. Peter Eastgate.
Yeah, Peter's a sweetie. Jerry Yang is an absolute sweetheart. Super
the
nice
one that
people.
always amazes me that people give Jerry Yang a hard time. I mean, he may be the
nicest
nicest
dude ever,
guy
yeah.
that we had win the main event, gives money to charity. Was, just because the guy's religious, people, is that something you want to hold against the guy? I mean, he's just a nice guy.
Haxton stealing here from the button. And Alex is going to 3-bet 220,000. Duhamel mucks.
Button a little different than the cutoff. On the one hand, it's a little different. On the other hand, of course, you got 3-bet by Rag Ace. On the other hand, people assume you don't have that much on the button, so it goes both ways. But still, a little bit unlucky for Haxton that that was Billiker, right? Woke up with the ace.
Yep.
That was the unlucky. And B, that with a weak ace, he has an option. He could give it up with an ace-5 or could play aggressively, and he chose the aggressive.
Do you think we're going to see some more lighter re-steals coming up now that we're four-handed and that we're,
If Kuhn wasn't there, we'd see even more. They'd start, I think, just going maniac at each other. You have to ramp it up once you get three-handed. But there's still that thought that with they've all got triple what Kuhn has, that let someone else do the dirty work and get him out of the way, and then they'll play when it gets three-handed. On the other hand, this is automatic. 10-9 suited, you got to go with it. Not that you're calling any big raise, but too much value in this hand. And, it can play once it gets called.
Barry, what do you say around get me a Goomba Smash? Turn some of this downtime.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I have a feeling I'm not going to.
I'm trying to think of something that it could be now that I can make you eat your words, but I'm at a loss.
Is that something out of Bollywood? A Goomba Smash?
A Goomba Smash. That's one of the signature drinks here. Well, apparently I've had some already.
I didn't know that. I thought all they had were like conch shakes or something.
You're the one that first told me about conch.
Duhamel raises the button with King Queen, and Kuhn is shoved with King Jack. Duhamel wants a count.
655.
And against for under 20 big blinds. I mean, on the one hand, King Queen is often dominated, but on the other hand, it's just too much under these circumstances for him not to call. I think. I mean, too much hand.
Jonathan does make the call.
You know, we're short-handed.
So Kuhn dominated and at risk.
Both wishing the other good luck. Neither one of them meaning it.
In a full table, you know, King Queen, you just figure you're dominated too much of the time.
Feeling a little bit lucky here, I'm not gonna lie.
Four-handed,
At
it starts looking
least
bad.
I'll flop a sweat.
No,
Hopefully it's
I
not
like
like
red.
queen, too.
Yeah, no, that'd be bad anyway.
Nah.
Even me, I wouldn't be
like
happy.
queen,
So.
10, 2, 2 spades.
I'll take that. I'll take that. That's like a
fair,
nice,
right?
that's an awesome sweat.
King, queen, jack.
You see the percentages that don't add to 100%, so I guess they tie 6% of the time.
See where it says split, 6%?
Oh, split. Well, see?
There's also a 6% chance that a banana split will fall out of the ceiling.
Yeah, well,
Very interesting.
very nice. No black cards for Duhamel.
4 to pick up chop outs.
Yeah, I guess that'll be all right. I just take a jack.
The Kibitzers
5, 6.
contemplating the way the person's going to die.
Oh!
Oh, boy.
Well, that's something completely different.
We got a long ways to go.
Not really.
From what I've seen, Kuhn has run
Pretty good.
and then boom, here comes the queen, and then
good.
There goes that out the window.
Only has to fade 3 cards. The river is not a queen. Kuhn gets the double up.
How much is that?
655.
We can't even show Ike right now.
Please, Jonathan, don't say story of my life.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jonathan. Can't even show Jonathan.
Right. You know, I'm always afraid for these main event winners that they're going to say, I never run good. You know.
When will it end, Jonathan? When will it end?
So where are we at chipwise now?
Yeah, I know.
Kuhn's still the shortest stack, but he now has 34 big blinds, just shy of 1.4 million. Duhamel 1.5 million, Isaac Haxton 1.85 million, and Alex Billiker 2.6 million.
Yeah, 34. They're all in the 30 to 40, you know, type of range. Well, I guess what the leader has more than 60 big blinds. Those are a little bit uncomfortable for a tournament player stack. So, you know, it's like you hate to make a big play for anything near all your chips when you have that, because you got a lot of time to look for a better spot. On the other hand, they're all in the same boat, you know, so your opponent's thinking the same thing.
Yeah, just a touch over. Like 1.35.
Straight back into the action.
Thank you for the
Duhamel raising with
vibes.
8-6 suited.
Thank you. I was cool either way, man. It's cool either way. I'm way more cool now.
Anytime you guys hear a lot of silence on this end, is because the 49ers are doing something.
49ers are currently
Well,
losing.
I don't think we can say that, because some people have T-voted it, and you know, I hate that, and they're going to be listening
But we're
at a
still
different
40
time.
minutes late, though. We're giving a 40-minute window.
Well, what about someone who's got it on TiVo and is going to watch it later?
Wonder how many
Do people still
just
do
leave
that?
with their laptops
Yeah.
back home, they're sweating
I
so
intentionally
that
haven't been
people-
talking about the game, even though, you know, I'm watching it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Just
Well,
because
I-
I'm sure there are some people who don't, or
I think I
saying
let my
don't
fan.
talk about it because I'm, you know,
I
just
need to
think-
share my pain, Barry. I can't keep
no,
quiet
no,
here.
but just think how many people are saying I had a choice. I could have watched the playoffs or listened to the webcast with Stapleton and.
Look, people
Millions,
can watch both.
Barry, millions.
That's right, exactly.
You put the game on your TV, you put this on your computer, and you watch both. You have the game on without commentary, just like we have, and then you listen
Yes, but
to
James,
the
what if
delightful
you're
words.
what if you're recording the audio commentary of the game and you're going to listen to it later?
Yeah, you know, playoffs come all the time, but how many times do we get a Stapleton Hardigan combination?
Good point, Barry. That was the moment the jack hit.
Kyle Julius, pretty excited about that. Yesterday's runner-up.
Yeah, he was pretty beastly through that event, wasn't he?
Yeah, sure
He
was.
was at my table for a while. Seemed to be pretty confident the whole way. He was, I guess it was like him or Faraz. You know, people were thinking one of them. Some people think, you know, thinking if he'd have won, everyone said, yeah, I knew he was going to win. And same
Faraz
thing for
had won, yeah.
Faraz, you know, because they were both at times dominating. But it was neither.
Billiker.
That's the
getting
hand I've been seeing.
chewed.
I had 7 deuce. I wish there was a computer program to keep track. I promise I had it more than anyone else this tournament. I mean, it's over and over and over.
But look, you would have flopped a pair in this hand.
That's true. That's true. I never found out.
Deuce is the nuts here.
Yeah, that's the other problem with playing 7 deuce. It doesn't play that well after the flop.
Oh, really?
Even when you make the best hand, it doesn't always play well.
If you're new to poker, Barry Greenstein is dispensing the advice, try not to play 7 deuce.
Well, there's not a lot of these semi-bluff opportunities for 7 deuce where you pick up the big draw.
Hey, 3, 4, 5. You can be double gutted, right?
Story of
There it
Jason
is.
Stack over the course of the day. He went up, he went down, he went down, he went up a little bit. Would you like another question?
Oh, fire away.
This is from Leo to nuts at pokerstars.tv. What is the reasoning behind some final tables being 8 players and others 9?
Some events are 8-handed and some are 9. You know, I mean, what do you want me to say?
Ding.
In the old days, you know, a lot of no limit hold'em was 9-handed, but once the internet came in, people wanted a faster game. They got down to 6-handed, and really the reason we see this hand 8-handed, it's kind of like a compromise between the 6 max players that come from the online world and a lot of the live people that come to these tournaments. So if you're okay, the live players want it at 9, the online players, some want it 6-handed. But for a championship where you have a lot of recreational players too, we want to like. That's where it's kind of 2/3 towards the 9 and away from the 6. It's just that we want to give them a shot. Now all of a sudden, Joe hunches over.
I think we're about to see some action.
Because
Barry.
he saw 2 kings.
No.
Well,
because
no.
I saw 2 kings and an ace in the small blind.
Dermel raising the button and
I'm
getting
no
3 bet
expert,
by
Barry,
Kuhn.
but it's not my first rodeo.
Joe, you have to. You know, I know you're excited, but you don't have to put your arm
Fine, I'll back up.
around me. Come on, please. I mean, you really get excited once you see a couple Cowboys, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the 3 hands I play pre-flop.
I'm not even going to guess what the other 2 are.
Well, queens ain't one of them.
I knew that. And Kuhn's, we've seen it, you know, it really looks like he's been the one stepping out the most, and he's stepping out here. You know, Duhamel, you know, he's channeling that hand he basically won the World Series with the queens against ace-7.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to give it as much of the, like, you're leveling me, I'm leveling you thing that worked against Joseph Chung. And we'll see if it works again here, where we get another guy to go after him with the ace rag. You know, there is a talent to getting people to think you're doing something that's maybe underestimated by some of the online community. You know, he's, again, trying to, you know, that's the thought he was trying to convey to Kuhn is, I know you're doing something to me, but you're not getting away. And, you know, that again, it may work. Kuhn may, you know, maybe may go for it and go off here. And if he does, he and Joseph Chung will have something to share over dinner.
Well, this is more leveling than Inception.
Movie reference for those who didn't know. Yeah, something happened in the 49ers game. Cardigan no longer is interested in this poker.
Sorry, the 49ers just scored a touchdown and retook the lead. 2 minutes left in the 4th quarter.
Harbaugh is already coach of the year and doesn't even include the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Guys, they got a tense moment in the tournament here. Who will win the leveling war?
Yeah, well, one guy's leveling and one guy's representing leveling.
Good point, Barry.
Maybe he's unleveling. Oh, Alex Smith, did he step out? No. What do you think, Joe? Kuhn gonna give it up? Or is he
Doesn't look
going?
like he wants to.
Yeah, it doesn't. But again, one of the things he's got to assess is how much has Duhamel been doing. At the World Series final table, it's a little tougher for Chung.
I'm all in.
Oh boy.
Oh, he shoved.
It worked again.
It's exactly the same, except it's
Yeah.
ace-4 rather than ace-6, and it's kings instead of queens.
Was it ace-6 or ace-7 at the World Series?
Ace-
Ace-6 against queens.
Okay.
Jonathan, one's delivery war.
We want one of those pointy things.
Kuhn knows what he wants. He's got that going for him.
One of those pointy things with
Yeah.
a thing across it.
Right.
Nice hand, man.
Commonly known in the poker world as aces.
And here it is. Can we fade the flop? Well, it should have been ace-6. That would have changed the course of history. Right.
Turn 6, river 6.
That'd be sick.
It's a sneaky one.
Sure, like at least like a 3 or 4.
Running sixes would be a sick way to win that.
These good players, they know all their outs anyway.
That'd be awesome.
What about 3-5? Of clubs.
Kuhn's still looking for an ace. He's got 3 outs in the deck. Needs to hit on the river or he's gone. He came into the final table as chip leader. He's on the verge of being our 4th place finisher.
I swear if it happens, I'll get blamed. I always do these days. That ace on the river.
Oh yeah. Invoke the name of Greenstein.
Some guy got knocked out of the main event at my table. Said, I should have known it with you at the table. Boom. Whoa.
Goodbye, Jason Kuhn. You finish in 4th place in the 25k high roller here at the PokerStars Caribbean Adventure. His chips go across to Jonathan Duhamel, who becomes the new chip leader with 3-handed action about to begin. Kuhn will collect $271,950 for that 4th place finish.
Take care. That's probably it.
Barry, do you sometimes think it's bad for a player to run as well as Jason did for a lot of this tournament, and then all of a sudden your luck runs out and you kind of can't change gears in time?
Well, I don't know if he had to. Most of the money I saw him win had nothing to do with changing gears or anything. He just held the deck. I'm not saying he isn't a good player.
That's what I
He's
mean. In
clearly a
this
good
one
table.
spot, he didn't, he
He
had
probably, one thing, if this makes sense, he probably won the most money relative to the blinds of anyone in the tournament. He won lots of big blinds, if you know what I'm saying. If it was a cash game, he would have won the most. But the nature of tournaments, the blinds go up, and
Where are we headed?
one double up like each of these guys did, and they're back where he is
Oh, okay.
for all the work he did for 2 days.
And then there were 3.
Jonathan, the new chip boss.
He folds, meaning actions on Ike Haxton in the small. King 9 of diamonds.
Anyway, answering your question, Joe, and I don't even remember what it was. No.
Good answer. No is the #1 answer.
Now, we saw last time, I think Villacor take his weak ace and go with it. Once you start getting to 300, an ace is an ace, and you start thinking that. And I think let's see if we get a little bit of consistency out of Villacor. And it looks like we are. I think he's in the, again, ace I3 bet mode.
He does 3-bet, 245,000.
And didn't we see a situation before with Isaac? I often, once I start getting short-handed and not that many big blinds, I'm in the it's all or nothing type of thing. But Isaac has a lot of confidence in himself to be able to play after the flop better than his opponents. And so, he put in 100. It was basically a 2.5 times the bet raise. Isaac is a guy who may just call, and I think that's what we're seeing.
That's right.
Three, 5, 6.
And of course, we're expecting now the hand's over, but maybe someone's going to do something. We expect a check from Isaac, continuation from Bellicor, and
job done.
On to the next hand, but not always right.
Check, check.
And we weren't here. Free card.
10 of spades. Ace high still good.
And now Isaac may, he's got a thought here. Is he on the right wavelength? And he's the small blind. He could now say, if he didn't like this flop, the 10, good chance 10 didn't hit a 3-betting hand, or it is somehow, you always are guessing when the guy checks behind you. But I'm sure Isaac's played enough with him that he's seen Bellicor check because he has nothing. So, I'm not surprised to see Isaac take a stab at it, and I think it's going to work. It would work against me, but I wouldn't have been in this position, as you know, I would have got the flop.
Axton betting 375,000. A fold from Bellicor.
And we're just seeing the better player, frankly, outplaying the weaker player.
More questions for Barry Greenstein to nuts at pokerstars.tv. This is from Brad. He says, Barry, just want to say your book Ace on the River was amazing and helped develop my game so much. It even helped my friend evolve his game so much he won the Sunday Million this summer. Anyway, I'm just wondering, where do you generally play poker these days?
Well, I don't know how to take that question. Are they coming after me or what?
Someone's got some Sunday Million stake money.
Yeah. Well, I live in L.A., so I play at the Commerce or the Bike sometimes. And even I played once over at Hawaiian Gardens. Have you been there, Joe?
I drove past there recently, but I've never been there.
Well, you know what the nice thing about Hawaiian Gardens is, don't you?
Nope.
Lots of Asian women. And actually,
wait a second. There's no way there's more Asian women than there are at the Commerce.
Well,
by the way.
that's in the middle of Little Saigon, or it's in that area. So, percentage-wise, there are definitely more Asian women in Hawaiian Gardens than the other casinos. But
you might want to check out Asia.
Yeah, right. The interesting.
There's tons of Asian women.
I hadn't
there.
even thought of that. Oh, here's Isaac. You see the look away bet. You see this? He put the money in and then nonchalantly, went on his business with the. Yeah, right. Nothing interesting going on here.
Yep.
We haven't seen Jonathan's cards, but we do see Jonathan's interested. The 10-7 of clubs, not my favorite calling hand. And Jonathan's not calling with it either. He's going. He's saying, well, I think Isaac is just bullying now that he had this good fortune the hand before. And things are going Isaac's way now that we're down to 3-handed so far. A misstep by his opponent the previous hand, and a misstep again this hand. Yeah, I see this stuff happen more because we're webcasting stuff and televising stuff. I think if it wasn't being shown on TV, you wouldn't find these guys monkeying around quite as much with some of these things. Maybe I'm wrong, but people are afraid to miss out on an opportunity to be a hero.
Now, what does Haxton do here?
And I think from Duhamel's point of view, do you remember they had a hand earlier where Duhamel, I think, did get away, had the best hand and folded out somebody. Duhamel's been playing more passively than his reputation at the World Series was. Isaac certainly knows that. If Isaac didn't have a good hand, Isaac would probably be giving up and giving Duhamel, credit, which
makes it not such a bad move by Duhamel.
Exactly. He ran into the wrong hand, but I think he's established some credibility, and he's trying to use it on this hand. And it's just not going to work. And we're going to get like a 2.5-time re-raise coming from Isaac. That's kind of his standard.
Now, is Jonathan going to do exactly what was done to him?
Or even a little less. Isaac left plenty of room there.
425,000 total, an additional 195K to Duhamel.
And what a great spot. And where Isaac has a hand that if he saw Duhamel's hand, he'd want to give him all the rope he could, because it's going to be hard to get drawn out. What happened is, for you football fans, Hardigan has left the building.
Isn't your team winning? I was down by 1, huh?
They were winning.
They were winning, and the Saints just got a touchdown. Let's just move on.
That's just playoff football, buddy.
That's supposed to make me feel better?
Yeah, what was that? I mean, at least sing well.
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure. I like just saying cliches like, "Hey, I think we can go all the way this year if we can just stay healthy."
We can win one game at a time.
Yeah, there you go.
Why are you a 49ers fan?
Because I got into the sport in the 80s when they were the team.
Because there's a lot of Asian women there, Barry.
Right. By the way, they have like a super big bingo room, which probably interests you.
At Hawaiian Gardens?
Yes, like it actually was. I talked to the guy who owns it. His family owns it, and it actually was a bingo parlor. They didn't even plan on opening a poker room, but there's one of these deals where you had to put a license in case you were going to be a poker room, so they nonchalantly did, and then it grew out of that. So it's actually like half bingo.
Bingo's way more my speed, Barry. Good call.
Are you good at it?
I'm one of the best.
Now, some of those old women are fierce. They can play like the 10 cards and get
I tried to use one of their anchors one time. I almost lost a finger.
Competitive bingo is a pretty tough sport.
It really is. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So Duhamel has the chip lead right now, but not by much. Very even. Duhamel playing 2.7 million. Alex Billico playing 2.4 million. Ike Haxton playing 2.3 million.
By the way, Barry's ebook on bingo available on Amazon. Check it out.
Yeah.
You get a free chapter on Bingo, which is part Badoogie, part bingo.
Right, exactly. It's a split pot game.
Bingo, everybody, by Barry Greenstein.
I don't give everything away, by the way. 'Cause, just cost me too much money.
Action on Ike Haxton in the small blind.
He's got an amazing chapter on Four Corners.
Haxton raising and taking it. I've got a question for you, Barry, from Miguel in Portugal. Barry, who is the player you least like to play against, either now or in the past?
Someone that already owes you money.
Right. Really, that person doesn't exist. There are people you really want to play against because they're bad and have money. But I'm not afraid of anyone. Poker is a game of strategy. So there have been many times where I said, this guy gives me trouble or outplays me. Sometimes it just makes me play tighter against him, make sure I have a good hand when he's doing stuff so I can't get outplayed as easily. So it's not that I'm afraid of anyone, but I'll adapt a strategy to counter what someone else is doing.
Haxton raising the button.
How about people you don't want to play with just because they're annoying? They take too long to act, they smell bad.
Duhamel defends.
Chew their food like a cow.
Yeah, we've had some of those. I don't think it's appropriate to name names.
Barry, this is a muckraking show.
Yeah, well,
we're here to blindside you.
Well, we got Isaac's been muckraking everyone now that we've gotten to three-handed.
Awesome segue.
He's just had the best hand. That's the good news. The bad news is it's going to be a bet and take it. I don't think Ace Queen's going to get thrown away anymore, especially with them being even in chips. There were some, metagame. Well, I don't know, metagame is the right thing, but chip situation reasons for him to not play hands before that don't exist now. I don't think Hardigan's going to be able to talk for the next 56 seconds of.
I can handle things if you want, James. If you just
game.
go sit on the floor over there.
It's okay. I got it.
Go pull up a nice little piece of carpet. Sit Indian style.
To be honest with you, I kind of don't want to watch. A reminder that if you deposit on PokerStars.com using the code on your screen now, 100K, you'll receive entry into 4 $1,000 free rolls every day for the next month. And the great thing is you can keep using that code. Use it every month to get another 31 days play. All the details are online at PokerStars.com.
Except for the months that only have 30 days, in which case you only get 30 days of play.
Right. That pop-up, that's
Fine
like
print.
the only thing that could have distracted him. You don't think he knows where his bread is buttered? It's like anything else. We could have changed to the porno channel
It's
and he wouldn't have
time to
blinked,
shill for the company.
That pop-up thing comes and boom, he's on it.
We have seen 120 hands at this final table.
Their 49ers are doing something. Oh, and the TV went off.
Oh, you are kidding me.
That's amazing. That looked like a replay, though.
It really did. Oh, because we're like out of the country, they go off to the like.
Yeah.
You know how they do that, Sky Sports, that now they all have to talk about it.
Well, James
and you're always thinking, James, you know how whenever they do this thing, you're always thinking, I think we're on to the next play. You know, you always think that they timed it badly and you're missing something. People who haven't traveled outside the United States may not know what I'm talking about.
Thought I was all in.
No, no, no.
It looks like it was all in. It was just all these chips going slowly like that. Would have been a big raise.
Quack, quack, for Duhamel.
You want off me, I make it.
Let's hear from the man who finished in fourth place in this tournament, and he talks about the hand that ultimately was his downfall.
I think people that don't understand poker and hand range as well will see that and be like, wow, it's insane. But to try to break it down simply put, it's like in that spot, John either has like a massive hand or he has a bluff. And he'd been playing pretty solid all day, but I know that he knew I was up to some shenanigans throughout the day. And his sizing was perfect. It was kind of just put me at a position to jam or fold. Folding obviously being standard, but I went with a read and I was wrong. And that happens in poker. It's a game of incomplete information, and sometimes you don't get it right.
Jason Kuhn explaining that hand. Ace-4 into kings.
Nobody ever implodes anymore, eh, Barry?
They did it. No one ever what?
Nobody ever implodes anymore. It's just. I'm not saying that was an implosion. I'm just saying there's always some multi-level justification.
Yeah. Yeah, what happened to the day where everything was analyzed in hindsight?
Right? We get to say how bad it was because he lost.
Yeah, right. Where, you know, aces all in, lost. I should have waited for another spot.
Well, there's their win-loss record on the day. Everyone who remains in the tournament, a winning record at this final table. Although Jonathan Duhamel has lost more hands post-flop than he's won. He's a pre-flop machine.
You're just right on those stats. And the 49ers
I don't even know how he
made it
came
so
up
you
with
can
those
talk.
numbers. And there was some sort of addition or subtraction involved.
Now it's raised, makes it 120,000.
Button raise from Billiker. It's been folded by Duhamel. Action is on Ike Haxton in the big blind.
So now, Barry, that they're three-handed and that they're relatively even in chips, things could get a little weird.
Yeah, well, at this point, it's like...
I meant between me and you, but also
right.
on the felt.
How did I get in the middle here? You know, I guess no one wanted to sit next to Staple, and I got the short straw.
Everybody wants to sit next to the weird uncle.
Yeah, you did have a good chocolate chip cookie, I'll give you that.
I got some more of that if you want it, little boy.
It reminds me, I don't know why, the guy was acting kind of weird. The guy who came in, I think it was 7th in the main event, the guy who won his seat by depositing online. You heard about that story, didn't you?
David Bernstein.
He deposited
Oh,
online.
from yesterday, you mean?
Yeah, and he was going around the high limit room, like talking about it over and over and over to where we were saying, yeah, we get it. and he's like, and then he told me he was Jewish, which, like Bernstein, I couldn't tell. He was a Canadian Jew, which it was also evident. You know how you can tell, right?
Please tell me.
Well, you know how Canadians always say "a" at the end?
Yeah.
But Canadian Jews, it's like they say "oi" at the end of everything. So it's pretty obvious.
Barry specifically put on his yarmulke to make that joke and took it back off again. Everyone stopped typing furiously. His name's Greenstein.
Right. Yeah, I can make
He's
Jewish
a member of the
jokes.
tribe.
That's right.
Don't worry, it's going to be like another 40 minutes before we get the complaints, by which time Barry will probably be in his hotel room enjoying the evening cocktails. Are you a cocktail man, Barry?
Yeah, right.
Well, I haven't had one for about 40 years, so, you know, every 40 years or so. No, it's not that long.
You should see Barry after a sip of wine, puts a lampshade on his head.
Yeah, I've had one drink since my second youngest child was born. What happened is we used to have, my wife and I, wine with our dinner and champagne and stuff like that. When she got pregnant, I said, you know, I really don't think you should drink, so I won't either, and never have since.
Oh, you blew it.
King of spades.
Isaac's got a pair. What's he up against? We're not getting to see the other hand.
It's Jonathan Duhamel who's called him. Maybe we haven't seen Jonathan's whole cards yet.
Billicourt. How did he get in there? He's not the button. He doesn't even seem to have cards in front of him. Oh, those were the cards he folded.
We're going to let the graphics guys get on that. In the meantime, Ike is firing.
Well, and you know, probably is the best hand. I mean, the good news is he's got a pair, right? He's probably got the best hand. The bad news is if there's any opposition, his hand isn't good. Or, you know, Jonathan's bluffing. Now, we don't know. Well, this is good. It's always good once in a while not to know what your opponent has.
We have fun with these hands.
Does it look to you like, you know, and again, what do you think with Jonathan? Well, you know, what you're thinking when you see a flop with a pair and another card totally unrelated, it's a little bit polarizing. It's like the guy he very often just has absolutely nothing, or he's got the joint. So, and like I say, once he's hesitating, Isaac wasn't at all thinking, hey, I hope I get paid off. He's thinking, uh-oh, you know, this is bad news. This is, there's nothing for him to have. There's no draws. And, you know, it's a difficult spot for Isaac. Reasonable for Jonathan to raise right away because, you know, now it's putting it back in Isaac to, you know, one of those, like you said, leveling situation. Is he just trying to take it away on this stark flop
comes down
that has no draws? It's just pure poker.
A king or nothing, yeah, in this spot when you get raised.
Right. Well, a 7 is a small possibility, and Isaac does have a 7 with even a playable kicker. So it's tough. I mean, I hate being in this situation. Yeah, I know. I know the game's over. I hate being in this situation because, you know, in limit, a lot of times in this situation you just give it up. You just don't see that much value.
Big pot for here. Almost $1 million in chips in this pot.
I think Isaac's thought is going to be, well, by calling here, I represent strength, and if I think this is what Isaac's saying. If he doesn't have a king, he's going to really have to shut down. And Jonathan may try to play a little cat and mouse and check to say, okay, you're right, I don't have a king.
Unrep the king.
Yeah, unrep the king, get Isaac to bet value on his 7. Isaac, I think, might just check behind him if he does check.
That's a tough move to pull off.
I think if Jonathan fires here, Isaac will say, okay, if you're willing to check raise me and bet again, you haven't been doing a lot of monkeying around, I'm just going to give it up. So that's what I expect to happen, is Jonathan's actually betting enough. He's got a king, right, but he's got a bad kicker. But he knows that he's not getting away from it, so what the heck. Might as well go through with betting full. If it's beat, it's beat. He's never given this up.
Well, that bet was for over $500,000 into a $1 million chip pot.
And he's going to bet exactly what he would have bet in his mind
if he was bluffing.
You know, that was the number he was trying to choose.
And I think if you are bluffing, obviously the choice is to double barrel.
Yeah, and you know, a third of the pot is pretty normal. You know, he bet.
Well, no, he bet over half. It's 1.5 now.
Yeah. I guess he did bet more. So I guess he felt that would be the amount he would bluff for.
I think Ike's asking for a count of what Jonathan's got left. Is Jonathan doing it again?
Yeah. Well, he hasn't done it really that much. And look at the hand we saw that he won with. I mean, Ike right now probably, you know, should at least be registering. What did Jonathan win his chips with? Well, it was kings. From what I've seen since I've been here, but again, I haven't played with Jonathan for 2 days.
I heard call.
Ike says call.
Wow.
Yeah, Ike has decided to take the tack that I'm just going to fade the heat and hope my hand's good.
Right.
So there's now $2 million in the middle. Neither player has a pot-sized bet behind.
And it would be good often enough.
And I guarantee one of the things is that his kicker plays. And he's thinking, I can beat some legitimate hands. Now, again, Isaac's kicker still plays. He's really in the spot he was before. And Duhamel, is there enough?
More than.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably enough to shove. And now, yeah, it's just, you got
Ike
yourself.
was going to weather the storm, but he can get away from this now.
Well, but it's really this. If he called when he called on the flop, I thought it might have been called to see if there's more heat. But you hate dogging it and being wrong. It's it's a tough spot. It really is. Obviously easy for us, but and again, Duhamel was going to shove anyway for the amount that was in the pot and what he had left. But the 6 was a good thing. I mean, now of course he knows he's the best hand, but the 6
folds.
The 6 at least took away all the kickers. And again, I think
You gotta show the bluff here.
yeah. I think you expect Duhamel to at least show a 4. Although if he showed a 4 and it was hearts, that would actually make Ike feel better that it was a suit that there wasn't that king up there. And he immediately he would think king 4 hearts if Duhamel had showed him before.
Duhamel has put a bit of distance now between himself and the other two. He's up to 3.6 million. He's got nearly half the chips in play. Billiker on 2.4 million, Ike down to 1.4. Guys, I've got to take a comfort break, and also I'm just going to do a little celebratory dance in the corridor.
Yeah. You could have just left it at celebratory dance, by the way. Checking out the big blinds. Jonathan Duhamel, 90 of them. Alex Billiker with 60. Ike down to
a comfort
fewer
break,
than 40.
is that what they say?
Yeah, I don't know. He's British.
I
They're weird.
I think when New Orleans scored and went ahead, he wet his pants, and he's changing now.
He's doing something having to do with the tee bag. That's all I know.
Right.
Action over to Jonathan in the small blind. He's going to let it go. Ike gets a walk. Much needed walk.
And for sure, if Isaac has his friends watch it, which he probably does, he doesn't have a watch on, but he'd be setting the timer for 40 minutes to ask what Duhamel had in that hand. He desperately wants that information if he's still alive 40 minutes from now to know if he got bluffed or not.
Yeah, he made it sound like, oh, it's a bluff. If it's a bluff, you have to show it, but it's not really up for camaraderie he's asking. He wants that information.
Yeah, he definitely wants that information. If he got bluffed there, he would throw up. He's going to be a little bit relieved when he finds out it was legit and he wasn't bluffed. And it's going to factor into him probably giving, 40 minutes from now, Duhamel's going to get more credit is what's going to happen. That's how this has changed with people being able to get this information. On the other hand, people are going to be learning on both sides of how do you use that information to your advantage.
Then you can reverse bluff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know if it's just a reverse or a double reverse. I think you went
too many
redundant on me, but or maybe an extra level. But I think Duhamel will know after about 40 minutes that Haxton has that information, and that maybe he can get away with something now.
Well, Ike's raised it up in the small blind. 5 tray off. Billiker, ace 8 off.
Now, is that a little steamy, or is that just positional?
I think that's just positional, Barry.
You can't give off. You can fold a 5-3. And as we know,
call in. But, I mean, aren't your odds of just getting the big blind to fold most of the time, like, pretty good?
They are, but it's also, for me, it's a function of what the structure is also. If the blind structure is less than 1/4 ratio, right now it's exactly 1/4. 5,000 ante, 20 and 40. I raise in that situation, but I raise in that situation, for instance, 8-handed, where there are 8 of those blinds in there or 7 of those blinds. There's more money to steal.
More
one thing, yeah, you play a little faster when it's short-handed. The hand values aren't as good, but on the other hand, there are fewer antes in there, so you're not gaining as much by stealing.
I'm back, by the way. That was for the benefit of anyone watching, because obviously Barry and Joe can see that I'm here.
Can't miss that giant 49ers jersey.
If they lost, were you taking it off?
I was going to actually, yeah.
Then I'm super happy they won.
Could have been a bad spot here.
Joe, I don't mean to question your professionalism here. No, hell, I am questioning your professionalism. You're eating a cookie while commentating. That means people have to hear you munching.
But he's not chewing gum.
I don't think anyone would have known the difference had you not pointed it out, Hardigan.
I can't understand the guy anyway. What's the difference?
Not big guy.
What do we think of Pierre Neville's white suit, by the way?
Are you drinking orange juice?
I am drinking orange juice.
Let me tell you a story about that.
That's it.
My girlfriend
that's
and I,
all, we
were both feeling a little queasy the last couple of days. We kept saying, what have we shared? What have we both eaten that's the same? We couldn't come up with anything. And so I said, so it must not be in the food.
Didn't have the fish.
Right, exactly. So I said, it must not be the food. And then I happened to get the USA Today that was tucked under the door, and on the, I read through it, And here is this section on these fungicides being put in orange juice from oranges from Brazil, and it's not allowed in the United States. Coca-Cola actually had detected in their own Minute Maid orange juice. And then I guess it was a bad story. And so then I
Greenstein's on a tangent. Cue the music. Roll the video. The fountains are more interesting than Barry's story.
But I'll talk anyway because I don't think anyone can hear me. So it's one of those eureka moments where I said, that's the one thing we both had is the orange juice. And so we stopped drinking the orange juice, and we've been fine since then. Joe, you're going to get sick, so you're going to be taking a comfort break in not too long either.
That would explain the color of certain things. I'll just leave it at that.
Duhamel racing the button with Queen 5.
I wonder how many different stock video packages they have, just in case you came with a whole bunch of stories, Barry.
It was actually attractive. I saw those horses, white horses.
He's got another story. Put up the video of the full moon.
Horse-sized duck or duck-sized horse story. You remember that one? I messed that one up.
Billicourt 3-betting from the big blind with 8s. Makes it 250 total.
What do you do, Joe? Queen 5 of clubs. I give it up. Although the 3-bet, you know, 3-bet was annoyingly small, right? Or no, it wasn't. It was from some reason. I thought the 3-bet was from 171 to
fold.
2.
It's a fold, Barry.
Yeah, it was a full normal 3-bet. Yeah, it's a fold.
Don't try to trick me, Barry.
He's got a lot of friends.
It was 170 more.